Hey, thanks for checking out Story Planning General, my Scrivener template for story planning that takes you from concept to not just publication, but beyond. So the purpose of this template is to allow you to plan your story without actually having to write it. And why that might be important is, say you're walking down the street or you're heading to work or something and you get this brilliant idea, but you do not have time to write your story right now. So maybe you just want something to store your ideas in for the time being. Well, the purpose of story planning in general is to give you a place to store that idea and then develop it as you go, develop it as you have time. And then eventually, when you are ready to write it, you'll have a lot of information already recorded. So once you click on the download link, it'll take you to a Google Drive document, and it should say Story Planning General Alpha 2, which as of this recording, Alpha 2 is the most recent version, which I just dubbed it Alpha 2 a little while ago. Once you download it and save it to your zip file, just unzip the file as you would any other file, and then you should get what you see in front of you. What you want to do is once you are in the program, just double click on Story Planning General. Now I've already double clicked on this. I have the file open, so I'm just going to cut right over to the file and show you what's inside. So once you open the file, you're going to be greeted with the purpose page, or you might actually be greeted with the project overview. You might be greeted with one of them. I don't know how many of these will be open, so you just open the files that you wish to work on. Every section has some directions in here on how to use it, so I do highly encourage you to take some time to read these before you get too committed into any one of your projects. But once you get a fair sense of how this is used, I think this will make life a lot easier for you. I do have a section for alternative resources if there's anything else you would like to use. This is not a complete list as it'll continue to grow, but you'll see an example of some of the things that are on here that may also help you should you choose to inundate yourself with a lot of resources. Now, one thing I also want to emphasize is that you do not necessarily have to use everything in here. If you try to do everything that's this document has available, you will probably have some brain explosion. So I don't recommend that you try to do everything here. It's not designed to have everything be done. So just use what you need and just kind of hedge yourself. Also bear in mind that because this is an alpha release, this is not yet complete. There will be some empty sections once you open it, and they'll be filled in time. I pick at this as I go. Alpha 3 will probably be out sometime next year, if not sooner. And then just a reminder, I do have plans to stretch this beyond just fiction writing. I do eventually want to take this to nonfiction screenwriting and game design, but that'll take a while. So if you're downloading it for those purposes, you're going to have some limited functionality, but it's not useless. You'll still have something to work on, but I can tell you that this is one of those templates I'll be working on for a while. So, if you don't see your desired entry yet, don't fret. You can either add it yourself or just come back by next October. I'll probably have an Alpha 3 ready. It might be sooner. Just check back. I have an update at the bottom of my page whenever I update, so keep that in mind. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is don't treat this like a template, even though it's called a template. You actually want to treat this as a story file. What you should do is once you open it, immediately go to File and Save As. Okay, and then once your window pops open, however sooner or later that will be, once it goes into your particular area where all your saves are, give it a new name. You can just call it planning for my story. Call it whatever you want. But when you save it, that's going to be what allows you to actually not corrupt the template file. The reason why you want to do it that way is because if you open it like a template, you're going to lose a lot of the information already in here, including the directions. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's just because I made it out of Scrivener for Windows. I know everyone's like they love the Mac version. Sorry, I don't own a Mac. I'm not rich. So I have to do everything on Windows because the Windows is affordable. That's how it goes. So hopefully this is going to be able to, hopefully you Mac users will be able to open this, but please let me know if you can't. And if you see a bunch of comments that says I can't open it in Mac, then message received. Any of you who want to convert this to Mac, feel free, and then you can let me know. So that said, let's go ahead and take a look at what this offers, and then give you an overview of how to use it and how not to use it. One thing I can already tell you is this is not made for writing the story. This is made for planning the story, hence why it's called Planning General. So if you are looking for a template to help you write the story, you're going to want something else. So just keep that in mind. All right, so I showed you the notes, showed you the alternative. Now, when we go into all the different sections, you can get an overview of what we have. Some of these aren't filled in yet. I don't know if that means I didn't actually write anything in there. Anything with like the extra layers, I believe, have extra documents in there. Let's start with the story overview. So one thing again is if you need to know how to use something, check the top before you go to the bottom. So the bottom is where all of your actual templates will be. And you can see it's already a little on the overwhelming side. It doesn't have to be. Okay. Again, you pick what you want. So if you check the notes on the type for the story overview, you'll find that this is the section where you actually develop your title, your concept. This is where you kind of think about who you want to market to, who you want to write for, what your goal is for the story. So like if you're just writing a short story, say so, because you want to make sure your expectations are in place. So give yourself some time to read through each section and decide what's going to work for you. If you need to, since you're going to be writing this on your own file, you're not going to overwrite the general file. If you need to make some changes up here, or if maybe you want to do a check mark or something, not that I know how to do that in Scrivener, but or maybe you want to highlight, whatever you want to do to kind of remind yourself what you want to focus on, go ahead. And then down at the bottom, this is where you're going to fill in some of your examples. So if you have a concept that you want to show dinosaurs are alive again, and there's now a park that allows you to check them out, this is where you might have that kind of overview, general concept, dinosaurs are alive again, or what if dinosaurs were alive again. And so I do give you some tips on how to shape that question. So if you're not sure how to determine whether what you have is a concept or a premise, go to the link that I gave you. Click on it. I'm sure they'll be happy for your patronage, meaning your readership, and definitely give yourself some time. What I've given you is not just a template. I've given you kind of a crash course on how to find your way around self-publishing or traditional publishing, if that's what you want. But definitely give yourself some time to read through, check the guides that are linked. You're not going to do this in one day. So just like I said, get used to what's available and then fill it in. So once you do all that, you can have an easier time setting this up. And if you need to, give some space between items, you can do that, because once you save it to your own document, you can do what you want with it. This is all customizable. Whatever you don't want to answer, just delete it. Who cares? If you're not going to get an agent, delete this section. Minimize your confusion. Get rid of everything you're not going to deal with. And then whatever's left over, go ahead and fill it in. And if you need to space it out a little bit, format it so you recognize what you're doing. That's all fine. That's the whole point of this. So some of the other items you have in here that you can use include character sheets. So character overviews. My recommendation on the character overview is copy or duplicate each sheet that you fill in. So again, it's going to be the same design, and if there's anything in here that you want that you can't find, just add to it. This should hopefully give you a primer. If there's something that you don't want, get rid of it. If there's something you do want, add it. And then alternatively, if you want, do your own edited version of Story Planning General before you start your story, so you can customize it as you wish. That's also a possibility. Story Planning General, my version, save, and then use that as your template moving forward. Whatever works for you. But you see that with all these different items, you'll know your character, but you're going to know one character. And if you want more characters, just duplicate the page and then fill in the rest. I highly, again, encourage you, don't fill in everything, because you're going to drive yourself crazy. And are you really going to go back and look at all this again? I doubt it. So just, again, use what's useful to you. Don't oversell it. Don't try to add more than you need. Not everything in here is necessary. This is all just here for options in case there's something here that you do want. Once you have your characters developed, what I would do is open up the document that you plan to write your story in and copy the documents from there to your other one. And you can do that pretty easily with two documents open. Just, I think you right click and drag, and then I think it copies. So there are tutorials on how to do that elsewhere, though that's beyond the scope of this video. But do keep that in mind. All right, so backstory. I have a backstory section because that is important. If you ever read Story Genius by Lisa Crone, which is going to be the topic of my book writer's bookshelf this week, if those of you, well, it's probably going to air in 2 days anyway, so by the time you see this, that should already be live. But if you read that, you're going to get a lot of information on backstory and how to develop it properly. So this section I have not filled in yet. I will, so this will probably be an Alpha 3 edition, but if you read the book Story Genius and want to fill in your own template for it, go right ahead. I do think that'll be useful for you, but you can kind of see what this is going to be. Backstory for Era, this one I do have filled in, not completely. I don't think I have to actually review again. I might want to add more, but this is, again, things that you may want to factor in as designing your character before the story starts. And that's the point of having the backstory, is to know who your character is before the story starts, so that you're not writing from a stopping point or a starting line, but you're writing in momentum. That's sort of the point of having a backstory, is to write your character in momentum. I should probably write that. I think that'll show up in the next version. Write in momentum. It's very important. All right, ticking clock is not filled in, but it's something that I think is really important. So again, that's on Chapter 8 of Story Genius. So there's something in particular that it refers to in backstory. I don't actually remember what it was. I have to go back and review. But the ticking clock classically is the deadline in the story, where usually it's the race to the climax. So like if this doesn't get done by a certain time, all hell will break loose, or the hero will lose. Classic one is Dirty Harry. If you ever see it, it's he's got basically he has checkpoints that the villain sends him on if he wants any hope in rescuing the last captive. And if he misses his deadline at any point, the girl dies or something like that. So it's a common trope in thrillers and crime thrillers in particular, but it's a really effective one. It's the same thing in love stories, where like if Love Actually, you love it or hate it, there is an ending to it, and the ending is the kid's gotta race to the airport. I know that's a cliche, but that's what happens in the movie. Spoiler alert: he's got to race to the airport to convince his new love that she's his love, and if he doesn't tell her now, she's going to get on the plane. He's going to miss his chance. Taking clock. So there will be a section on that in here too. I probably could have updated that before I gave me this video, but I'll do it later. It's fine. I'll probably do an update video for all of the additions, so just keep an eye on that. All right, marketing plan. You won't need to worry about that until after your story is done, most likely, so I wouldn't even worry that much about it. But what you do probably want to do is set up some of these opening elements. Some of these might be repeats from story overview, so it's up to you. But again, I give you a lot of places to go in order to find out how to do this well. And then, of course, once you get down to it, just fill it all in. So it's really simple. If you have a BISAC, go ahead and fill that in. Amazon. And Amazon, I think, has like 16,000 different types, and there's some trainings on how to get the exact ones you want. So again, just spend a day or two just going through all of it and really, getting your information. It's helpful to do the log lines and taglines and all that ahead of time, so that you know what you're going to write about. The Snowflake method teaches you to do that, but there's a lot of it's really just a smart thing to have that in mind anyway. I say that not doing it myself. I'm kind of hypocritical in saying that. I really don't like pre-planning. In fact, this whole document here, I kind of did it, to help others. I don't know how much of it I'll use myself, to be honest, because I really like to just dive into a story. But I also do find that I like to know and remember what I've done. So this is also something you can do retroactively, where as you write your story, if you want to come back and fill pieces in as you know them, that way you can kind of set up a story Bible that will be helpful to you. But as you can see, I get into some really crazy things down here about budgets and things, which again, you should have a budget, but take a look at it. Don't be overwhelmed by it. Just take your time, pick your way through, and eventually it'll all make sense, and you'll be happy you did, hopefully, because I don't read hate mail. All right, story development. So I haven't really fully developed this. I don't think, a little bit maybe. So the original plan was not to have a place for an outline. The original plan was just to get all the basics down, but I think I decided it's best to have even the outline, just so you have something to work with. So I went ahead and gave you a place to write that, and you just pick which one you want, whatever base is your preferred. Hero's Journey is a common one. See, the cat, it should have an exclamation. I'll add that now. This will be an alpha 3. There you go. Alpha 3 in the making. So Snowflake Method's my favorite one right now, because that's the one where you start off, again, at the pitch level and you work your way out until the full outline. And it's a nice way of kind of taking your time through the story, and it really helps you analyze your problems as you create them. So it's nice. But yeah, just work your way through, see which one is your preferred. If you have a program called Plotter, which I will be doing a review on November 2nd. If you see this before November 2nd, that's your preview. There is an article and a video going to be released on my Plotter review that day. Make sure you come back, and if it's already past November 2nd, then just check my archives for it. It'll be there, but it'll show a little bit of how Plotter is used. And a lot of the stuff is also in Plotter, so if Scrivener is overwhelming and this template makes you want to take a nap, Plotter is probably what you want, so go take a look at that. But a lot of these are also in Plotter, for your reference. Story chart. So this is, I think, the newest thing I've added. So this is the page I was on. No, sorry, not sample scene cards. The newest thing. So this is a visual way for you to track what you're doing. So if you have something that you want to see change over time, and one of my problems I have with Scrivener is there's no charts or no graphs. So you may want to end up transferring some of this to an Excel sheet, which can do a better job charting for you and drawing graphs. So if you're versed in how to do Excel, that you may want to do that. But this is a good place to kind of just, again, have your central data. But when you see things like starting and ending values, what I mean is like positive, negative. If you read StoryGrid, you'll know what I mean. Or Robert McKee's story, I think, talks about it. But this is where you can have a basic overview of, or a snapshot view of your story. And then if you want to use color codes to track changes, you can do that. So that's sort of what this is about. But the transformation value based on whatever rules you set. So I do make it very clear that you decide what this means. I can't tell you what this means. Whether you go by colors or numbers or whatever your rate, whatever your system is for evaluation, that's what you would do on this last bit. So I try to give you some flexibility on how to use this page, but I do give you the option to really kind of work your way through. So hopefully you won't be overwhelmed by that. Again, I don't read hate mail, so if you have questions, you can ask, and hopefully maybe version 3 will have an even better take, but we'll see. Maybe by then Scrivener 3 will be out, and maybe this will all look nicer. Who knows? All right, sample scene car, that's what I was on when I compiled all this together. So this is where I give you an example. Oh, that's what this is. I'm like, what is this different? Yeah, so actually this is your card, and this is a sample on how to use it. So if you're really not sure how to do the card, come to this page and take a look. And I don't think I finished it. I might have, I don't know. Again, if there's more to add, it'll be in the next version, but this should give you an overview on how to use it properly. So, and this is based on my sample novel, Pop Goes the Waterbed, that I start writing in this video link down here. This is one of my most popular videos on YouTube. So if you get some time, check it out. And it's an hour and a half, or an hour and 15 minutes long, I believe, but you actually see me develop this scene. So that's what this is based on. It's the scene I already wrote. So it's a good way to kind of tie it all together. Okay, epilogue. This is up to you. There's no template here. This is strictly a scene that you would write. So the reason why this is in here is I believe Harry Potter is famous for having its ending be the first thing she ever wrote. Like, she knew how it ended long before she knew anything else, and that scene that we read at the end of Deathly Hallows, like, that's the oldest scene in the franchise. So if you're that kind of person who if you want to know how it ends before you figure anything else out, you can write it here and just develop a full scene. And I actually recommend that method. So I think it's a good way to give yourself a roadmap for everything else. So connected scenes, which apparently I was in the middle of working on at some point. This is mainly for like series writing, or anything that's got connected elements between books. So if you do have a series you're working on, or if you have a few books that maybe aren't necessarily a series, but they're still tied in by a character or a place, this is the place to take those notes. So make sure you kind of let us know where things happen. And then the other thing too is if you want anything to show up again, like let's say a repeat location, this is where you would let us know all that. So, or you wouldn't let us know, you'd let yourself know. So again, this tells you how to use it. And this is where you actually do it. And if you have an item in here that you want that it's not in here, just write it in. You've got a basic system now. You don't need to wait on me to add it for you. You should know by now what you need and what you don't. So again, delete what you don't want, add what you don't have that you want, and maybe you won't need Alpha 3 when it comes out next year or whenever I finish it. But, if you like to have other people think for you, and I get that. I actually like that too at times. So you can wait. I'll eventually have it all in here. So anyway, all right, story challenges. So this is, again, it's like the epilogue. This is not going to be developed further. This is something that I don't think I'll develop. Oh, maybe I'll develop it. I don't know yet. This may end up being filled in. But the premise here is you want to think about what your challenges will be. So like, for example, if you're working with a co-author who maybe has, 10 kids and 3 jobs, your challenge might be to coordinate, how to get the story finished. So if you're in a situation where you can foresee particular problems coming up in the production of the story, go ahead and list them here. That gives you an opportunity to plan ahead. So, and there again, I may do a checklist on this at some point, but right now, this is something I think you can do without my help. Just you figure out what your issues are and then deal with them. Amendments. So this is just anything that you need to update. So if you've established an idea, and let's say in the writing process something changed. So I actually have had that happen. So like I have my my superheroes franchise. I like it, but I wrote it on the idea that each story would take place over the course of a year, and that inevitably means that some books are 300,000-400,000 words long, and that's ridiculous. Can't do that. And so that also means if I go back and give some elements to their own book, I have to change the structure and I have to change how things are told. And so that's where I might note those changes is in the amendment section. So like, what do I need to do to make it better? So that's what this is for, is if you look back and realize that your plans won't work, or again, especially if you've already written the book and you realize, like I like the scene, but I know I can't use it in this book. So which book can you use it in? That's what this is for. All right. Front and back matter. I didn't actually do this yet, so you'll have to wait until lesson 3 or alpha 3. But this more or less is going to be just more of the same from the marketing plan. So and this is primarily for like when you're designing your book cover, or if you're getting a book cover. I'll probably put like the design brief and all that in here for those of you who are self-published and want to get your own cover designer. That's more than likely what this will contain. So you can, again, if you're watching this video this far in and you want to get ahead of the game, just add a document, nest it within the folder, and then write cover brief, because that's what's going to go in this folder. It's cover briefs. All right. Agent of materials. So again, if you're looking to go traditional, this folder is for you. So, or will be once I fill in the template. Sorry. Proposal, same thing. This a lot of this will be when I go into the nonfiction. So proposals, this won't be filled in until I do a nonfiction version of the template. So you're gonna have to wait a while for that one. Treatment, again, this is all just kind of beyond where I'm at the moment, but maybe by alpha 3 you'll have all this in place. All right, marketing campaign materials. I do have. It looks like I've got plenty here. Oh. This is where I have the brief. Never mind. Well then, shoot. I don't even know why I have front and back matter considerations. This will probably just be text then. Or I might move this. You know what? I'm probably going to end up moving this to front and back matter consideration. Oh, sorry. I'm recording this at 12:30 in the evening. So I really need to be in bed right now. Sorry. This is not for cover. This is for interior. Derp. For like your copyright pages, your about the author page. That's what goes here. Again, for now, I'd say if you already have a template, just use that. But I'll give you some stuff in here later. Sorry, marketing. This is where your cover briefs and everything will go. And I haven't filled in the template yet, so that's ongoing. But you kind of see what pattern I'm doing, so you can kind of move on. So synopsis, cover, jacket. This is going to just kind of be the same deal as the stuff that you found in. You can probably actually do a lot of copy paste, to be honest. But just another place for it to go. Winston's elevator pitch. Actually, I think this is all placeholder. I'm not even sure this is going to be in the final version, because most of this is the same. So I wouldn't worry about the marketing campaign right now, except for a book cover brief and maybe budget. Let's see, budgets. Yeah, see, I copy paste everything, so I'm not even at that point yet. Yeah, no. All right, so ignore everything but the book cover design brief for now. So there you go. Now, if for any crazy reason you do want to write your book in this draft, I don't know why you'd want to do that. But if you do, you would do it under draft, and that's for you. And then research is where all your research should go, if there's anything on top of that. So, but yeah, that's the overview of story planning general. Alpha 2, I'll do Alpha 3, probably in the next 6 months to a year. So you can always, add in your own templates where I don't have anything filled in. At the moment, it's up to you. But I do hope that what's here will help you. And again, if it's too much, you don't need to download it. It's fine. Check out Plotter instead. It's much simpler, and you have a timeline that's easy that you can kind of move around. But Plotter is so much simpler that you really don't have a lot of features right now. So if you do need something that's more comprehensive, Plotter won't work for you. This will. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, that's story planning in general, and make sure you leave me a comment on what you think, either on my blog page or my YouTube page, whatever works for you. If you do go to YouTube, just put a like on the video so that I know you got something out of it. If you think this sucks and you can't believe I wasted my time making it, be nice about it. You can let me know, but be nice about it. I don't censor free speech. So anyway, all right. Hope this helps. Talk to you all later, and don't forget to check out my other template, NaNoWriMo basic template, which if you are checking this out prior to November, go ahead and download that. It's much simpler and it's really friendly for NaNoWriMo, and I like it. That's what I use. I do use that one. I don't always use this one, but I do use my NaNoWriMo template. In fact, I'll be using it in the next 3 days. So anyway, alrighty. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Don't let your cat tell you what to do. Bye.